Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Money Talks, an exclusive conversation with some of the most brilliant minds in business, entrepreneurship, and finance. Once again, we're here in beautiful Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I'm joined by a dynamic duo. Two guys that I've known for a couple years now, and I've had the ability to reconnect with them, and I wanted to have the opportunity for you guys to sit under their teaching and really be able to understand the intricacies of building a $50 million plus e-commerce empire. Now, these two gentlemen are the founders of Upscale 9, an e-commerce organization that manages multiple brands and has become quite successful over the last couple of years. One of the founders who lives here in Malaysia by the name of Daniel, and the other one is Hanzi. He currently lives in Los Angeles, California, but together they've been able to build a phenomenal business. And I wanted to sit down because e-commerce, as you guys know, is a hot topic. And I wanted to bring the pioneers, the forefront leaders of this industry right here today to Money Talks to have a conversation. So boys, welcome. Good to have you guys here.
Thank you.
I know it's the first time we're doing this. I've noticed the first time you guys are on camera podcasting because you guys are just low-key ballers. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down and sauce these guys up. But before we kind of get into the intricacies of e-commerce, I want to start with you, Daniel. Yeah. Give the audience a little bit of a background. Because here's the thing, Malaysia, e-commerce, entering the space is not super easy.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how you got started with entrepreneurship. How did that journey kind of begin?
Yeah, it's kind of like a long time. So it's kind of like flashback because the ups and downs are crazy. Like 5 years ago, we don't even have like e-commerce. E-commerce is nothing here. And like for me, wanting to get into e-commerce, I didn't actually start with e-commerce. I started with social media management. I built Instagram pages. Back then, it was so easy to get into Explore page.
What year was that?
2016, 2015.
So like OG.
Yeah, OG. Because like that's where the Explore page, you can like exploit it using I didn't build like a personal branding. I built like niche pages, like memes or sports, beauty. So that's where I got into finding like viral content and then reposting them. So that's like the simple term.
Was that when like hashtags were going off? Was that when
those kind of stuff. Yeah, and then like liking, big accounts liking each other. Yeah. So that's where you get to like blow up so easily. So I got to building like 1 million followers in just like a week. It was so easy. And then I was just flipping accounts, and until like Instagram kind of like catch up, they start like banning all these accounts. So that's where, like it was kind of hard. So we have to make it. We were using bots back then, to like all the pages. And then when everything went down, I started like figuring things like how can I monetize it, because I keep flipping, so I don't know how to monetize. Then they are like, since I'm having like multiple followers in those industry, they are brands that reach out like, hey, back then it was like shout out. So can you give us a shout out? We'll send you products. So I figured like, let's just do it. I got like $10 per shout out. So it was pretty good. Like I was only like 18, 19 back then. So that even in Malaysia, that's really good. So I accepted those offer, and then they keep coming back. So for me, like it must be working for them.
Something must be working.
Something must be working. It was a simple shout out. So and like each post we're getting like thousands of likes. It was so easy because I know how to exploit it. And like, why not I try it? Then I tried my own. It failed miserably because one thing is like the Shopify wasn't even a thing back then. PayPal wasn't even a thing in Malaysia. So I only had like a cash on delivery, which I couldn't do because it's overseas. My audience are like 90% overseas. So I had to figure out how can I actually get into this space, because I know they're making banks. They keep coming back. So I tried. I hopped into, because back then also there weren't a lot of courses on YouTube. You couldn't like, even if you type Facebook ad tutorial on YouTube back then, it wasn't a thing, bro. It wasn't a thing. Like these days, it was so easy. You can just type in, get anything up front. So these days, like everyone had it easy. Back then, it was so hard. So you have like to figure it out as you go, and it's all about your experience. So I tried like e-commerce. It took me like a year to break even. I was a student back then, so it was like juggling between two things, and a year to break even, and I almost had nothing. And I sold my last accounts because it wasn't working. I was thinking like, jumping into another thing, finding other cash flow. I was flipping burgers, all the stuff I've done. Like, tell me anything. Like I've sold pajamas on the street. I've sold like even like using Instagram hashtag to just like selling people who wants to buy it. I've tried it, but things wasn't working really well until like I discovered there was a Facebook groups. Yeah, so I think like back then Facebook groups were starting to like people are going there and sharing their experience, and I learned properly about ecom, like discovering a thing about ecom in like a forum. So that's where I started like exploring more, building websites using Shopify, everything. Like up to this day, I even custom code my own website. Yeah, so no one can like lie to me like if this costs this much, this costs this hours, because I know everything. Yeah, so we like, so that's the thing. Like back then, everything like not like there weren't many people selling themes, many people selling apps. So you had to like figure out on your own.
It was
so
the
that's
OG
why
days, bro. I remember that shit was...
You have to build everything.
As much as people say, oh, you came in the early days, there was like no assistance, no help. You had to figure out your own lane. You had to hack your way through your own systems.
Yeah, people keep saying it's definitely was easy, but like it was hard because there weren't a lot of accessibility back then. Yeah, so I figured it out, and then another 6 months, like everything kind of took off. Lives were definitely changed, but then I struck with another issue, which was payment processor bans. So funny thing is,
how were you processing before? Was it PayPal or what were you doing?
It was only PayPal. Yeah, so then I got Stripe, which I actually flew to Singapore to incorporate a company. But initially, on the first place, they rejected me because I wasn't a citizen. They wanted a local there, but I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any families or friends there, so it was hard. And then like I next day I went on again and like kind of like begged them, can I open a company? I really need a payment processor. So then they approved. So it was a good thing. So I keep pushing the numbers, and then I was doing like about 10K days back then. It was huge. Sure. Like I feel like the world is in my hand. Like it was crazy. And then payment processor ban struck, and everything like crushed. Like everything crashed, and mind you, like there were about $200K dollars on hold, and I have about roughly 5,000 to 6,000 orders pending. Yeah, so what I did was, it was so stupid. So I told the suppliers, the money hasn't come in yet. Can you fulfill the orders? So that was a stupid move. And then like he actually, okay, let me just fulfill the orders. All orders fulfilled. Now I'm in debt with him. So I owe him like $100,000. And like 1 month later, he keeps like asking like, where's the money? Like you can't do this. You're running a business. So I told him like to just wait. Something is happening. And like later that month, he actually wants to send someone here, like a lawyer here, to like talk to me, like going to sue me over what's happening. So I told him like there's some issue. And then what I did was, like back then, again, you had to figure your thing out. You create some sort of a loop with a Stripe account, for example. So what I did was I keep incorporating new companies for new Stripe accounts. And then I learned that if you scale really high over like the week, usually on the 5th day, you got banned. So what I did was, like I was surfing through the week, and the day number 5, meaning day number 5, 6, 7, you don't get that money, but you get the money from day 1 to day 5. So I keep like repeating the process over like across few months, and then I managed to pay him back. And
but what happened to the 200 grand that was on hold?
I didn't get it.
What?
Yeah, it was so bad. Yeah, I didn't get it because they accused me of money laundering, because in Malaysia it was,
because there's no payment processing.
Exactly.
It's a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, you know what year a payment processor are like considered a thing in Malaysia? It was 2019. Yeah, it wasn't like
so they see somebody in their 20s clocking hundreds of thousands. Like, what the heck is this man doing?
Yeah, I went to the I met a lot of like authorities asking me why are you doing this? Do you have the papers? And why are you like transacting a lot of money from the UK, for example? But like back then, like scaling, if it works in the US, it's gonna confirm work in the UK. It was so easy. But I didn't get the money back. So I managed to pay the supplier, and up until today, we both still use him. So we became best friends. So it was good. Then like I figured out like until when I'm gonna have like this kind of issue. So I start looking for someone. There were a lot of people approaching me for like partnerships opportunities. And then I told them like we can test first and see if we can vibe. And then I think after I also talked to Han, and then like after a few months I decided let's try to work. And then we processed like more than 1 million. I didn't even had a call with him, video call, didn't even text him. It was all through Telegram. Yeah, we talked on Telegram. Then I was
crazy.
Yeah, I was like, damn, this dude is holding a lot of cash right now. Like, I better like do some background checks. Like, and he was doing affiliate, I think, back then. Yeah, and then turns out like Han used to be a supplier that I purchased my social media account with. So it was like.
So he was selling you social media pages?
Yeah. So it was he was also like did some flipping on social media. So we both were hustling. Yeah, and then like the rest is pretty much history.
Lovely. Hansi.
Yeah.
Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, bro.
We met in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I flew up to New York. You took me out, smoked some shisha.
Yep.
And I knew that you were still in the e-commerce game. I knew at the moment that you were working with Daniel, but I didn't know that you guys were still collaborating together. Tell me a little bit about your journey, bro, because I know you're one of the low-key guys, but you guys have been crushing.
Yeah, so I started, you know what affiliate marketing is?
Yeah.
So I was a big affiliate like 2016, 2017.
What were you
I was promoting like Nutra.
Okay.
I was selling like information products like vision impairment, like
Facebook
stuff like
ads?
Facebook. But I was a big native guy. Like Rev content, content AD, I forgot, it's been a long time. So and then I started drop shipping around 2017, 2018. And then I came across the first product I was selling was, I remember, some Vampire Diaries. Yeah, I was selling one of the products there, and then I got shut down. And I was,
you got hit with the copyright.
Yeah. I was doing like 5 to 10K days there, and then luckily, I think my third, fourth product I tested was a hair serum, so that took off. And then again, I had issues same as Dan. That time I was doing like 20K a day. And then I had issues with Stripe, PayPal. So back in the day, I think PayPal and like Stripe didn't know what to do with all these because e-commerce was still new. So processing was kind of crazy. Like if you were doing these numbers, they didn't know like how to, if they should let them, because it was money for them too, transaction fees and everything. They didn't know, if it's high risk, when to shut them down and stuff like that. But eventually I got shut down like 3 to 4 months in. And then I think 2 to 3 months after, I was also on the same page as Dan. I was on the Facebook groups looking for partners, to create this, to see what we could work on. And then, I partnered with Dan, and then we started our brand 4Chics back in 2018. And then the first month we did, was it 300K?
Yeah, 300.
300K, and then
Crazy.
Just exponentially.
Yeah. How much has that brand done up to date so far?
30 mil.
30 mil?
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what, 3 years? 3 years?
4 or 5 years.
So from zero to hero, a brand off scratch, 2 dudes meet from the middle of the internet.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So 30 mil, and this is in the beauty niche, right? What kind of got you guys? Was it like a lucky strike and you're like, hey, this just happened to work? Then you went to like branded products. And was it initially like a white label, or was it like straight dropship at the beginning?
Yeah, so we started testing this. We tested a bunch of products, and then we tested this product in around July, I think, of 2018.
Drop shipping.
Yeah. Straight from AliExpress and all that, Dropified, and then
Overlook.
Yeah, Overlook.
Oh fuck, bro! It was so OG, bro, but it was the worst, bro. Like the fulfillment was the worst.
You can't even complain. There's not many options. Yeah.
And then we're doing all these numbers, and I was like, "Yo, Dan, like, let's just create a brand.
Yeah.
Like we can actually sell it and try to exit, a few years." And then we ordered, some samples from Alibaba, and then Dan's the designer guy, so he, designed the bottles and everything. We got a bunch of samples. Like this was like near end of 2018. Yeah, I don't remember too exactly. And then a bunch of trial and error. And then the brand that really took off 2019 till COVID. COVID was really good for us. Everyone's home. They wanted to try a bunch of products and
What was your guys' main form of marketing this? Was it Facebook ads? Were you guys running on Instagram? Influencers? What was kind of like the main approach for?
We did everything, but I would say 90% Facebook. Yeah, I was running all the ads. Dan was doing all the creatives, the web dev work. So it was like perfect synergy, you know? And I had all the payment processors in lock because I was in the US. Yeah. I had a good relationship with PayPal since, you know, my affiliate days and all that. So it was a really good.
Let me ask you this. Now people are jumping into e-com, right? People that are brand new, obviously not OGs, kind of like when we were starting. Is it still a good viable option to make money? Is Facebook ads still a good viable option for advertising? What are your guys' thoughts?
I think like if you were to start like with nothing, you don't have actually, because Facebook requires money. It requires money to make money. Right. So I would just start with organic first, like see if it gets traction. So we also like whenever we start something new, TikTok will be a good opportunity as well because the videos are easy to blow up there. So you have to like these days there are a lot of formats like the best hooks, the best, you know, all the things. You can just like take the product, record it, post it on TikTok. If it gets, it doesn't have to get any purchase. You only need tractions, like see like what kind of hook works best. So if it gets traction, meaning like they are eyeballs.
So you're kind of like optimizing the ad prior to launching the ad.
Yeah, so you don't have to like spend a lot on the like studio shoot because order a lot of samples. Those are very costly. So these days everything is expensive. So you might as well just opt into like organic first and then get into Facebook. Like for us, Facebook is still king, but like for someone that's starting out, there are not just gonna be Facebook ad spend costs. They're gonna be like apps, themes, Shopify, Stripe percentage. They're taking a lot of fees. So those are like logistics is another headache. So I would just start with organic first, get traction, because we tried like with a product, it's getting like 5 million views easily. Yeah, and we didn't even have the website set up yet. We just wanted to test. So now that it's kind of like approved.
So you're not even setting up the store, nothing. Just proof of concept, creative.
Yeah, create an account.
Wow.
Post the videos. It gets a lot of views. People are asking. Even if people are asking, that's a good sign that people really want to buy the product.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and these days the way that we start, usually it's straightforward. So we like when we have the capital, we usually start by investing in some capital into the brand with making it more branded, making it have like some specific audience, and then we can start pushing. Yeah. So instead of like back then where it was just drop shipping and testing things out, these days it's kind of hard. Yeah.
What I tell always people who want to start e-commerce, when they ask me, I said, learn how to sell first.
Yeah.
So instead of create a store and do all that, I would always tell them to start with affiliate marketing. That's like the core, you know? So that's what really made me save a lot of money on Facebook ads. Instead of making all these websites, video editing, all of those is very important, but learning how to, copyright.
Yeah.
Copyright.
It's the skills, bro.
Yeah, it's skills.
Yeah.
What skills would you say affiliate marketing kind of like cemented for you?
Copywriting and learning how to sell, psychology, buyer psychology, the hooks, angles, how we come up with those. I think that those are our bread and butter, how we really sell a product. Let's say, for example, we have 10 people promoting the same product. Like we can guarantee me and Dan would crush, because there's so many ways you can sell a product, Right. So for this hair removal thing that we're selling, right? You can promote it to so many demographics. You can sell it to old people. You can sell it to young people.
Pregnant people.
And it's the approach that's the same product, but it's the approach of the product that makes a difference.
So when people say the product is dying, the product is never dead.
It's the same thing. Like you only innovate the product. The product has been for a long time. So either you innovate the product. If you can't innovate to the people you market it to, so you kind of have to change the angles, change to but make it very specific. So back then, if we're selling hair removal, you can just say hit hair removal, try this. Now these days, it's gotta be specific. Struggling with specific pain, for example, skincare, you're struggling with acne. There are a lot of acne types, so you gotta be very specific to that specific audience. So that's one of the way.
Yeah. Go on Reddit.
It's like identifying the character that you're trying to sell to, knowing their profile and identifying their need. Before I let you continue on, you were mentioning Reddit. maybe you guys can synergize with what I'm trying to convey, is most people, they just grab a product, because I don't think that there's this thing as a saturated product. Genuinely, I don't think that exists. All there is saturated forms of presenting the product, 100%. Or maybe you saturate that specific avenue for that specific period of time, or maybe the product isn't relevant, something along those lines. What are your guys' thoughts with regards to like these marketing angles that you were talking about? Because most people will grab a product that clearly is working, let's say on TikTok, they test it, but then how many angles are you supposed to try? Like most people are like, generic, it doesn't work. Okay, the problem is the product. Nobody's ever like, maybe I'm the problem. Right. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm the person that's not marketing well, that has like shitty copywriting.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So we always look for problems, you know?
Yeah.
Let's say, okay, so it's this hair removal product. The first angle we went with was, you know, people who are struggling with razors, you know, ingrown hairs, razor cuts, stuff like that. And then we did, for this brand, we did around 20 mil already, right? For 1 year. So in the first 10 mil, it kind of got saturated and we started looking for other angles. Summer is coming up, bikini, women want to go out, you know, they want to, so that's the angle we went with, and then the product took off again. So there's continuous ways we always testing for new angles, you know, the website copywriting, we change it up, you know, time to time.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Do you guys play with the branding at all? Or is it usually like the same brand, or are you guys playing white label? How married are you guys to like the branding per se of the product? Are you guys altering that as well to kind of give it like a new feel?
Yeah, that's actually for us, it's kind of important start. So we don't really go really hard in like making sure the audience is only like the top 1% can buy it, for example. So what we want to do is like make a brand, but make it like still appeal to the mass audience.
Evergreen.
So yeah, make it evergreen. So for colors, for example, we don't really choose one segmented audience for that who likes that specific color. We go for the general colors. Like, you know, like for beauty, it's gonna be pink. For like wellness, either blue or nude color. So we keep it simple, but you know, like it's still a main thing when it comes to like pushing the product as well. Yeah, we want to make sure that the product that we sell right now can also be expanded into other product lines.
It has to be, because as you start gaining all this customer data, so many people forget about the customer that buys once, and they don't build this ladder of value products that they can sell to customers as a continuation. You were talking about Reddit.
Oh, Reddit. Okay. Yeah, so basically, if you find a product and you see something interesting on TikTok, like for example, hair removal, what are people struggling with most on with razors? You know, they'll give you a list of like, you know, 10.
A lot
on Reddit. People talk about their struggles, their, you know, what worked for them, what didn't work for them. And also based on that, we also come up with a lot of angles ourselves, you know?
So Reddit helps a lot.
That's a gold mine.
Yeah, because like whenever we got the angles, we talk about it, and then we don't just stop there. Yeah, like you don't only use in the copywriting, but visuals. So when because on Reddit, like especially people who hates the product, like comparing people who loves the product and hates the product, people who hates the product gives like super in-depth review. So you can get the visual out of it, and with that visual, we actually do the shoot. So it's kind of like people will be, damn, that resonates a lot with me because I struggle with that too. For example, if you're pregnant, like pregnant ladies find it really hard to shave, and then it helps. Yeah, so they made it very, very visual, and it's so easy for us to.
So they help you understand their struggle.
Exactly.
And now you're taking the struggle and you're adapting the entire creative and the marketing angle to appeal to the problem that this individual has created, which you're assuming that this same problem every other pregnant woman is facing.
Right.
And then you attack that marketing approach from that angle. There's a great book that I always recommend to people. It's, forget what the name is called. It's Scientific Advertising. It's an old school book by, I forget, I'll put it in the captions, but Scientific Advertising, which is Breakthrough Advertising, sorry. Breakthrough Advertising. Yeah. Who's the name? Do you guys know the name of the founder? Anyways, it's fine. But Breakthrough Advertising, it's all about this exact philosophy, because back in the day, everything was run through newspaper and everything was run through direct mail. So Breakthrough Advertising was this idea of, I need to be able to sell the product just with copy. And I think that most people just rely on, for example, let me focus on the product features, or let me focus on making sure that the images are nice.
Yeah.
But they never focus on the copy. They never focus on the angle. They never focus on appealing to the pain point. And what I tell people is like, if you're not able to sell something with the copy alone, then the copy and the angle is not strong enough. And I learned that with Breakthrough Advertising, and it was kind of one of those foundational books that, to me, when it comes to copywriting, has worked efficiently. I was talking to a guy by one of my mentors. His name is Jay Abraham, OG marketing legend, and he says that his favorite book is Breakthrough Advertising because what it's helped him understand was that if you can resonate with people just with text, then everything else is a bonus that just validates the entire premise of the conversation. Yeah. What is, in your guys' opinion, as you guys kind of see e-commerce evolving, a common issue amongst come-ups or amongst people that are just doing six figures? You know, it's easy to do $100,000 a month.
Right.
What's a common one that you guys are like, these people cannot fucking
the struggles?
Yeah, like what's the one that you just...
Systems is definitely one thing because like we just know how to sell. You know, in the beginning we didn't know. We don't know. We never worked a 9 to 5, right? So we don't know how, you know, corporations work. You know, what kind of positions we need to fill. You know, project managers, operations managers, logistics, like everything we just had to learn on our own. And someone that just starting off, and once they try to get to the next level, that's one big obstacle they'll hit.
There are no courses available for that.
Yeah, because you can't, like as one person, we can't do everything alone. Even me and Dan, when we first started, like we were working 20 hours a day, like, not even joking.
Yeah.
Ad goes down, ad account goes down, we have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
Like our store goes down, we have to build a new one, you know? It's like, and right now we have all these systems in place. So it makes our day-to-day tasks so much easier.
Who builds out the systems? Is that something that you guys have sat down and you're like, you know what, like we need to build out a process so that we can deliver this to an employee that can actually do it day to day? Or did you bring in a genius into your company that builds out processes, that builds out systems, a human resources or project manager? Different people have different kind of perspectives about it. What was kind of your guys' approach there?
So the first thing we talked about, it was like, yo, Dan, like we're working too much. Like we need some help.
Facts, yeah.
So
usually it starts with the problem. Yeah.
So I think the first position we hired was an operations manager. Yeah. So we went on Upwork and then we wrote a simple copy. I think we got it from Indeed or something. We just copy pasted it, and then we just made it geared towards e-commerce, you know, online. So luckily we found the one, and she's still with us
until now.
5 years, 5-6 years, I believe.
Yeah, and she builds out the systems.
She builds out the systems, the roles. Obviously, she doesn't know e-commerce as best as us, but you know, through meetings and stuff like that, she catches on, and we tell her what we need. We need video editors, we need copywriters, we need more people on the logistics team, customer service. So
she's good because her background is like corporate. Yeah, she's good with that, and that really helped us a lot. Yeah.
In your guys' opinion, how does somebody go from hustler to boss? You know, because
you just don't.
you know, because like we come from a hustle background. I'm gonna hustle to make my money, but now you guys are in boss mode. Like you guys are really running a fucking business, like a real deal cash machine. Is it building up a team? Is it being able to find your lane? Because I know you guys operate as co-founders, so you guys obviously can't be overlapping each other's tasks. In your guys' opinion, I'll let you guys answer individually. What is that one ingredient that entrepreneurs that are still in hustler mode, they're still doing the 20-hour days, which is not sustainable. It's not fucking sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of people hate e-commerce and they hate dropshipping is because it's like they always feel like they're putting out fires. And that's not the business model. That's not how the business model should be operated. That's when you're in hustle mode. What is the one ingredient to go from hustler to boss?
I think like they are comparing like good days and bad days. There are a lot of bad days. So like when those bad days come in, like what are you gonna do about it? So either like for example, your team made a mistake. Are you gonna just make a fuss about it, or are you gonna still work on it and find like solutions? So I think it takes a lot before like even becoming a boss. You need to master your craft first, understanding like what can you actually do instead of just like telling them you need to figure out your own solution. Because as much as you want to be a boss, they are still learning to be your team members as well. So you can't expect them to, like step up and then make their own solutions, even like if they're like the experts in the industry. So I believe like managing expectations first and then knowing your craft. That's when once you start understanding like the gist of it, and like the workaround around it, and then that's when you can guide instead of like telling people. So a lot of people just tell instead of guide. So I would start by guiding, understanding like what works first and what doesn't, and then once you finish all the trainings, that's when you can just like be more relaxed.
What does guiding look like in your company?
Yeah. So guiding involves a lot of we usually the first step is that we go through a meeting and then we just walk it, like use Loom, or if it's simple, we'll just use Loom and then have them to check out the video, understand and extract information as best as you can, and then create your own version of it, the ones that it's easy for you to understand, and then it will be like some sort of a SOP in the company. And then once that is done, that's where we start having like, even if like new team members come in, they'll like go through everything. So in a way, me and Han, we didn't really like, we have a lot of SOPs right now, but back then it was just us knowing that.
Yeah.
And it was so hard because like when someone comes in, we have to keep repeating the same thing because like,
facts, bro.
Yeah, especially when things are changing and like it's not gonna be the same. So now we have like someone to actually work on it with us, and then once they like understand all that stuff, they can update it on their own. And that's what we like about it. It's always updated. So it's not just us telling them, hey, there's a new thing. It's like sometimes they just discover it on their end, they make the update, and then they just tell us whether. So these days it's a lot of, hey, can I make this update? Sometimes we didn't even know. Like, it's good that they're catching up and they're just letting us know. So that's when you know that you're the boss. Yeah.
It's when the delegation,
Yeah.
you don't really have to do delegating anymore.
Yeah.
If the company just runs smoothly, you just check in. But obviously me and Dan are still very hands-on.
Yeah.
Because we still want the brand to grow, right?
Yeah.
We know we have the vision.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can go ahead.
Yeah, so in the beginning, like, even if we tell like team members what to do, it's like they don't do it right.
Yeah,
so we
correct.
gotta actually like grab
And you
their
can't
hand
expect
and
them
then-
to do it right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was super tough. So even then we weren't a boss. We were just, it was like a team member. This is a team member.
Friends.
Yeah. So that's when we really, dived in. Me and Dan had a meeting and we sat down with our operations manager. Okay, this is how we're gonna onboard a video editor, a customer service rep, a project manager, all these different departments. And once that started going smooth, it's changed the game for us, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, so these days we're now no longer like as much involved like hiring, like scouting for new talents or training. So these days there are a lot of guidelines that we create, like videos, and that we usually, like, when they are onboarded, we usually have them watch these few videos that we pre-select. So like there are a lot of courses these days, but
Yeah.
probably like 20, it's like 80-20 game. So like 20% are reliable. So we take that 20%. And then we know, because we've been doing
Been
that.
through the trenches, you know what's good and what's
we got
bullshit.
our hands dirty, so we know. So that actually made our team members got like better, because they got a shortcut. They don't have to learn, from A to Z, discovering like new courses, what's working, because we know what's working. Yeah.
yeah. But one of the hardest positions to hire, I would say, is a media buyer.
Oh yeah.
So once back then, it's like, if you know how to media buy, you don't really have to stick with one company, You have multiple sources of income. You can run ads for every company. So even as to this day, I do a lot of the media buying, but I have a right hand that I train myself, that I really trust. You need to really hire, because we're spending $40,000, $50,000 a day, right? Let's say, an ad goes wrong where they put the budget
You can't just
wrong.
have a whatever person in there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like one day we lost like 30, 40,000,
Yeah.
Was that because you had somebody running ads, or?
It's actually my right hand that he fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also try like hire different media buyers.
Media buyers.
It was a lot of fails. Yeah, I think like the most failure that we had when it comes to hiring is media buyers, because it was that hard. Yeah.
So to this day.
What is the number one? So let's say I have a couple VAs, right? People already do customer service, the basic stuff, maybe a little bit of product research. What is the number one most important role that an e-commerce entrepreneur needs to fulfill in order to scale their business, Hansi?
So scaling is a whole different game. You need you need your systems in place before you actually, try to get to the next level, right? From 10K to 20K, you definitely need your payment processors, right? Your PayPal, email PayPal, call PayPal, be like, oh, I think our revenue is gonna jump up. Like, please don't flag the account, write a nice email, stuff like that.
So you're anticipating with payment processors, you're letting them know, yo, we're about to scale.
Yeah.
Like, I'm giving you guys a heads up.
Super important.
Like, you're humanizing the experience with the payment processor so they're not getting caught off guard.
Right. So that was like I used to have a call with PayPal every week. We're expecting this kind of revenue, why our dispute rates went up, why our shipments are late, stuff like that, right? But I think customer service is one of the most important parts.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of people, people starting off avoid. Chargebacks, right? Mm-hmm. You're not gonna have returning customers. It's not a business. You're just running, a cash flow. Yeah. It's just cash flow. You don't have a brand. Mm-hmm. It's like a pump and dump, like in crypto, Yeah.
Back then you can do that, but these days it's all about retaining the customers, and like customer service is like.
Well, because the lifetime because the customer is so expensive to acquire now that's what I tell people is like, if the only type of approach that you have with the customer is the first sale, then, like you said, it's a pump and dump. You don't really have a business. Right. You've just sold a QVC. Mm-hmm. And a QVC nowadays is not sustainable because the customers nowadays are so educated about the market. Like back in the day, we could run a sponsored post, you could run a YouTube ad, and most people didn't even know that they were being advertised to. Nowadays, everybody knows that it's an ad. Everybody knows what a Shopify store looks like.
Right.
Everybody knows what a funnel looks like when you're going through it. So there needs to be kind of like this credibility and trust that's being built. Do you guys have like a specific mechanism for, okay, now you have a winning product. How do you build a ladder of products attached to that one to increase the lifetime value of the customer?
Yeah, so I think like we usually start with the niche that we're in. So for example, if it's hair removal, we start studying the competitor. Usually we go with big names and then study what kind of products do they have that is complementary. So the first thing that you want to know, you want to build first is something that complementary for that product. So for example, our eyelash brand, the lash serum really took off, and then we need to figure out what's the next product, because we need to make sure people are buying more. So we actually made another serum for your eyebrow. So people bought that bundle easily, and our AOV doubled almost overnight. So and it was a really good time for us, because we were already scaling the eyelash serum, and we don't even have to start marketing on the eyebrow because people are already interested with the product.
Returning customers. Yeah, our returning customer rate right now is like 60%.
60%.
Wow.
Yeah.
For that brand.
For that brand, yeah.
So the product works. Right. It's not just, and that's
that's important too.
But that's the misconception. We'll talk about it in just a second. Product quality. That's a common misconception when it comes to e-commerce, and I hear it. People are like, oh yeah, drop shipping or e-commerce, you just buy a product from Alibaba, you 4x the price, and you just try to sell it to people.
Right.
But that's no longer the thing. You know what it's like? It's like, did you guys do crypto at all? Like, did you guys like at all like see the space when like there was like the shit coins and all of that? Okay, so it's very much like that phase. When something's new, the scammers try to like take advantage of the loopholes and finesse. But once things start getting more regulated, start getting a little bit more intense, and kind of there's a little bit more heat in the market, or potentially like competitors, only the best live. So this kind of concept of pumping and dumping products, like you said, is no longer sustainable. You have to have a strategy attached to it. You mentioned the strategy of kind of building that ladder value of products that have like a synergy attached to it. So you have something for lashes, it only makes sense to have something for the eyebrows, right? It's literally fucking 1 inch away, right? It only makes fucking sense. I want to kind of merge over to Facebook ads, since you were talking about it kind of being, it's kind of your sauce, probably Facebook ads god. I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like nowadays, with costs being higher, with tracking being a little bit more complicated, what are some strategies, not tactics that in 3 months will become irrelevant? What are some perspectives that you implement when you're advertising that are valuable?
So everyone tries to be, profitable when they're first, to the cold audience, right? When you're first advertising. So our CPAs went up like, I would say over 50%. So for this product right now, we were having like $15 CPA when we first started, like a little over a year earlier. So right now it's like $30, right? So right now we try to make it up through increasing our AOV through upsells, shipping, insurance, stuff like that, right? And also we go heavy in retargeting. Let's say, our products, we offer 20% off, 30% off, right? But that's where we make most of our money, even because for the cold audience, we mostly break even. Mm-hmm. But for the back end, the retargeting, the returning customers is where we make most of the money, honestly.
So you have to kind of have a strategy. And that's funny that you say that, because most people don't even retarget. Most people are just cold traffic, cold traffic, cold traffic. What is your back end marketing? Do you guys have email, SMS? How does that function with you guys? Do you guys play a lot with that?
A lot. We invest a lot in back end, especially emails, SMS. We have a lot of for back end. It's not our bread and butter, so that's why we outsource that. That's the only thing we outsource, because we've worked with agencies for a few years, and they did a really good job, and they control all of our backend. So meaning like our, let's say we're having a sale for this month, they will handle everything, all the SMS, emails, all that stuff. Yeah.
Hansi, question for you. Cold traffic, break even, retargeting, that's where you make your money. Do you guys use any other advertising platform apart from Facebook? Is there what's your B tier?
I would say 90% Facebook, 10% Google. So Google
Talk to me a little bit about Google.
Google, we run a lot of, I don't run it anymore, my media buyer does. So right now we're spending like $5K a day, that's pure retargeting. So Facebook ad, they see our ads on Facebook, right? 30 days later, they see our ad again. Because most of the time when they see it in first impression, most people don't buy.
Yeah.
But Google, right? You're scrolling through a website, you're scrolling through other hair removal methods, you see our ad, right? Click, there's a discount, first time buyer discount, 30% off, they buy it. So it's Google makes up like you really need to set up your media buying correctly in order to have a brand that's going to be profitable in the long run.
I'll give you guys a little sauce that we used to do when we were running e-commerce. Do you guys do any Google shopping?
Yeah, we do.
So how we were running Google shopping was we would create a second brand that was running the same product. So on column 1, we would have the original brand that we were running Facebook ads for, and that would be labeled on Google Shopping number 1. And then we would create a second brand, Google Shopping alone. It was just a retargeting brand, no Facebook ads, but it would be cheaper than the first one because you would have the buyer, right? I got you a little sauce. Because they would come in and be like, I got the brand number 1 because I found them for cheaper, but cheaper version is you.
Yeah.
And then we would run number 3, number 4, number 5, all in ladder value. But it was all connected to the same backend, to the same fulfillment, and to the same payment processor. So we would run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 2 through 5 was just simply Google Shopping retargeting. We cleaned the entire fucking market. So this man's like, hey bro, let's go try this out tomorrow. Yes. No, it works super well. So kind of moving a little bit along with the future of e-commerce. Where do you guys see kind of the future of e-com? I know it's getting a little bit difficult, but you guys clearly are still absolutely smashing it. Daniel, what are your thoughts on the future of e-com?
Like e-commerce is a huge space. So right now, like there's TikTok ads and like a lot of catching up, especially after the lockdowns. People are going out, they're buying like offline now. And so we didn't stop there. We still kept on testing new things, finding like new channels like Amazon, even if it's TikTok, like although like Facebook is still king, there are still other channels that helps with the cash flow as well. So you don't want to miss out in any other channels. So for us, like like there's gonna be a time that any brands is gonna be going into like a stagnant phase where you couldn't make like as much as you make back then, but it's still consistent. So what we do now that we have the systems ready, we start looking out for new partners. So for new brands that are, like people have the product and they are getting like traction. So, but they don't know, like instead of wasting years learning by themselves, we actually can just acquire or partner up with them. So that's where what we think the future would be is building like a moat in each industry. So we want to go into wellness. We want to go, because with us, it's not about, we don't get investors, we don't get fundings, we actually use our own cash. So that's where it's best to use because we make sure that we don't lose the cash because it's our own money. So we start looking for partners that are growing, and then we build with them, and then build more relationships. And that's where we figure out, like by dominating the industry, you can't do it on your own. So you got to get a lot of people coming into together and work with you. Yeah.
Future Recom, what are your thoughts?
The biggest struggle right now is most people don't buy in the first touch, right? So you really need to build a community. I think that's the most important. People just try to sell the product, put up a Facebook ad, run some Google ads. They're not gonna buy it. There's so many.
Too much noise.
And too many copycats of the same products. Like they don't know what's. So you really have to. I would say content. Content's super important, right? Build a community, a Facebook group of people struggling with hair removal, stuff like that. That's what we really trying to focus on right now. Because honestly, back in 2018. We were just trying to sell, right? We didn't care. We didn't give a shit, right? We were broke. We just wanted to make some money, right? So the future, I would say, is definitely you need to learn. You really need, like, I would say, like ambassador or like a face of the brand. You have to be more real with the customer. There's so many influencers. You just pay them out, post. They're not gonna fall for that anymore. Because we tried it ourselves. We used to spend $10,000-$15,000 a month.
It doesn't work anymore, bro.
Yeah, you really have to be real with the customers these days. So that's
even like with the micro influencers, it's not just about posting. Even if you're a small audience, it's not just about posting. It's about like you are actually using the product and you post it all the time. So they're not gonna buy on the first time. So next time you post it, someone's gonna like, oh, that's kind of cool. She's still using it. And then the next time you post it, and with a discount code, for example, so you gotta treat it like a flow. So people won't buy the first time. So that's why when it comes to working with influencers, we don't really spend a lot with a lot of influencers. We just work with few influencers that we know for sure.
They actually fuck with the product. And they run with it.
Usually they are our customers. So that's
they do the marketing for us.
They do the marketing for us.
So we have an affiliate program called Refersion. So we pay out a bunch of affiliates every month, right? So they bring us, a couple $1,000s, probably tens of thousands of dollars a month in just referral sales. So you really have to build a community. And also, I would say you really need like an incredible product, but you have to be omni-channel. You can't just rely on Facebook, Google, YouTube. Try to, build a community, go to colleges. So we're starting a new skincare brand, right? It's like a daily refresh spray. It's called Yuzu. So what we're planning to do is while we really push Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok, stuff like that, we're planning to go to colleges and actually spread them.
And run like a real in-life ambassador product.
Right.
Do you remember there was an app that fucking crushed by doing that? It's no longer around. It's called Yik Yak. Do you remember that app? It was a privacy app back in the day that they used in colleges, and Snapchat was doing the same exact thing where basically they would go to the university. They would hire 3 or 4 or 5 of the most influential people in the college based off of followers or based off of whatever. And then they would have that person talk and post about the app, and everybody in the school would download. And that was the first thing. The second thing that they were doing is they would just run targeted ads hyper-focused to that location. So instead of running global, they would just run to that city. And the people in that city felt like it was a global mainstream product just because they were just getting bombarded with it left, right, and center. Oh, this product's going viral, When in reality, it's just going viral in that specific niche, in that specific area. But I agree with you. There has to be a humanized effect in the multi-channels where a lot of people miss out. Strategy. Talk to me about how much time you guys spend planning, sitting down and being like, okay, like, where do we move next? Because it seems like you guys really are pioneering e-commerce. I hear a lot of things that most people talk about, but they don't actually implement. A lot of people talk about maybe one or two of the ingredients, but you guys seem to be really pulling through. How much time do you guys sit together as founders and really just pen to the paper and just, I need to figure out new strategies. I need to figure out how the market's working. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're always brainstorming, you know, but most of our focus right now is we're trying to exit, right? But then that's hard. But we're trying to build a team to really, you know, grow the brand. We're focusing a lot on wholesale these days. That's what we kind of, you know, discussed. Ulta Beauty reached out to us the other day, and a lot of acquirers. But like that part, like, you know, corporate, that's like mostly corporate, right? So we don't know much. So that's what we're mostly trying to strategize on, you know, how to price our products, right? How to get into these big box stores, Target, Ulta, Sephora, because a lot of them reach out to us, but we don't know how to, you know, respond. So that's one. Building an e-commerce business is easy, but actually scaling it into like real, you know, like a handheld, you know, it's a different game. So we're
it's a different level. So one thing is like making the money. The other thing is like
growing
it, and then taking it to a place where it's enticing for somebody to acquire. I was talking with another guest that I had on Money Talks a couple weeks ago. His name's Alvin Poe. He exited a software company for $30 million. And he was telling me that the number one thing that investors look at is, when I buy this, the same way when you guys try and get like some sort of acquisition, or you try to get some equity deal in some other niche, is how can I make my money back? Yeah. What a lot of these guys are looking at, these VCs, these private equity firms, these investment branches, whatever they may be, they look at, can I plug and play? Right. So it all comes down to systems and automation and teams. So that was the big thing. The big caveat for me was, most people, if they leave the business dies. So I realized now you guys are in a great place, because you're no longer working in the business, you're working on the business. So how do I package this thing in order to be presentable for an exit? And I guess that takes that's where you guys are like the next level, right? So how do I, from 50 M's in sales, now how do I get the 50 M payout check for the actual brand? How important is branding? How important is kind of like the eye candy per se of the brand with regards to being enticing to Ulta Beauty or Sephora and things of this nature?
Yeah, I think like the product itself have to be like really good. It has to make like the first impression. So like most of the product that we choose, even to partner with someone, buy an equity inside a company, we look for a product that's a first comer. So yeah, you know, like
first
even
mover,
yeah,
like
first
a wow
mover.
factor.
Yeah, there's a wow factor. Even by looking at it, you think like, I never seen that kind of product before. So that alone is a unique factor for us. Not only solve one problem, multiple problem, and it has a wow factor that no one knows about it. So it's not just gonna be like a simple product that's, you know, like you have it everywhere in stores. It's gonna be like something that's only available to be purchased online, for example. So that alone will actually make its own brand, because it's like its own specific thing. So the complementary products are the common products. So people are more familiar with the rest of the products. So they will understand, oh, this brand is in this.
You don't have to educate them about the add-ons.
Exactly. Yeah. So they know about it. Oh, and they're like, oh, I can just buy more because they have everything there. And the product itself built its own brand. And that's where, you know, like we don't usually start with branding. We start with the product. And then we find like what kind of brand, ideas, concept that fits within the product and the industry. Yeah. So that's how we usually start.
Wrapping it up, what's next? What's next in the pipeline? What's next in the perspective? I know you guys are doing exits, but I'm curious about this. You mentioned this idea of investing or buying into companies in different niches, which seems to be kind of part of you guys' strategy. When you guys come into one of these companies, because obviously as people listen to this on Money Talks, there will be plenty of people running 7-figure brands and be like, yo, let me see if I can get a hold of Hansi and pitch him my idea, or see if I can get a hold of Daniel, pitch him my idea. What is it that you guys look for when it comes to these micro brands that you can actually scale from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8? So what do you look for?
So we try to think of how we started, right? They know how to run ads. They have a good product, but they don't have systems. They don't know how to scale payment processors, logistics, right? So right off the bat, if we, partner with a brand, their profits will go up because we have the best shipping rates, right? And we know how to build systems for, our processors. A lot of them have payment processor issues. Hey, Han, my Stripe keeps going down, but we have connects, right? So but the one thing we really look for is actually, the product. The Ice Plunge?
Yes.
So we recently just partnered up with one of these guys that he was doing 5K a day, and then we did some CRO work, right? Web dev, conversion optimization, and then now they're doing 10K, just doubled.
In 2 weeks.
It's just you need like a unique product or something that's trending, and we try to take over by, scaling with paid media and our branding skills,
Yeah, having like experienced team members, because for them, like not just, of course, like it's a different product, there's different angles, but there's like a templated, because we had success with our brands, then it's easy to replicate to other brands because it's the same thing. It's all about selling. So you can replicate the kind of creatives, the kind of CRO work, the kind of website, what made a conversion rate increase. So yeah, our average like conversion rate is roughly like 5 to 7%. And that's what matters most, because you can't pay Facebook to get more traffic, but you can pay to make sure that the website you have converts even better.
Yes.
So you don't have to pay too much.
Let me ask you guys 2 more questions on the logistical side. So what is your COGS versus what you sell? What is your price there? So I usually, when I was doing e-commerce heavy, it was like 25%. But I know it might be different with brands because you have to spend more time with branding and packaging and things of this nature. How do you guys price this in a way where you guys are still highly profitable?
So
what's your kind of pricing model and perspective with that?
Testing is everything. We don't do multiples and anything like that. We play around. We go from let's say we initially test a product for 39. It doesn't work. We go to 29.
Yeah.
Eventually we go to 19. We play around with the shipping and everything. But the reason we actually pick, the health and beauty cosmetics is super profitable.
Yeah.
You buy, let's say eyelash serum, right? We get it for like $2, right? We sell for 39. But we make the branding, the perceived value, so that someone will actually purchase it for $39. So I would say it's all, again.
I mean, if you start looking at luxury brand, they do the exact same thing.
Yeah, the margins are
if you look at a Louis Vuitton shirt, that shit doesn't cost $1,000. Like let's be honest, what does that cost? 30?
Yeah, 30.
Like it's all in the packaging, the branding,
the experience,
100%.
the experience that you give to the customer. Like even if you look at Kylie Jenner's products and things of this nature, bro, that shit doesn't cost $200 for a kit. Like, bro, that looks like it was made in China, because it was most likely, or something along those lines. So the pricing model is something that you guys kind of just gauge, and then traffic-wise, you kind of like feel it out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Any last thoughts? I'm going to give you guys one data set is what I like to call them, one advice to not just entrepreneurs in e-commerce, but come up entrepreneurs that are trying to get to the next level, in order to kind of inspire them or give them a little data set to nudge them forward.
I think it's not about we all have our days where we can wake up and do work, and some days it's just not working. But I think long-term wise, it's about how hungry you are when in this space. If you wanna for us, we don't even spend so much. Back then when you feel you're the king, you have everything, you tend to spend a lot. But these days, me and Han, we don't even spend. We just work, and then we try to give back. So as much as we want to give back, there's a sense of responsibilities. Now we have families. Now we have people working with us. We have not just our own family, but we have team that have their own families. So how can we actually benefit them as well? So it's all about giving back, and to give back, you gotta be hungry. You gotta wanting more, and then your team got to be hungry with you as well. So how much did they want to help their own family as well to build this? So we gotta go all in, and it's not just me doing my thing, you do your thing. It's got to be together. Yeah.
That's what I often tell people. It's not that there's food missing; it's that you're just not hungry enough.
Yeah.
And that's often the case. You kind of get complacent. You're doing 50K a month, you're making 30K profit, 20K profit, like you're cruising. But if you want to start taking it to the next level, you're going to have to onboard people that are going to help level you up. But simultaneously, now you have more people to feed.
Yeah.
It's not just yourself.
Right.
Piece of advice.
I would say mindset is everything, right? Instead of learning how to sell, you got to work on your mindset to be hungry. Like, what are you striving for? Do you want a better life? Do you want to provide for, kids in Africa? Do you want to give back to the community? So I think that changed the game for me in 2018 when I dropped out of college, right? It's like, because my parents, they're Asian. They work at so my dad was a cab driver. My mom she used to work at a nail salon. So what's my why? To retire them. So how hungry am I? I'm super hungry. Like, they try their best. They came from Korea to the US with nothing. And, they work their ass off. They try to provide for me. So now I got to give back. So that was like my biggest reason that fueled, how.
Before I wrap it up, your why, being hungry, how do you, because you said your team needs to be hungry. How do you motivate your team?
Yeah, so a lot of people think it's monetary value. So for us, it's like giving them access to us, and we're not just stopping them there. So like, for example, we know for sure they're not going to be working with us 10 years, 20 years later, but we want to let them know that they are going to have their own opportunity, and we want to be there for them. So for example, we straight away just ask like, don't you want to build a business? What kind of business? I want to help. We straight away say, I want to help. What resources do you need? What kind of things do you need to buy? Who do you need? So we want them to not only work in that, in that industry by themselves, we want them to build their own team, find their own people.
Grow as a person.
Yeah, grow as a person, as a business. So, and that's why they became hungry. They don't usually most people working with us, working in e-commerce, they just feel like, especially VAs, they just feel like they need to fulfill their day-to-day task, and that's it. For us, it's not just about that. We want to hey, I think you can do this well if you have your own team, and then you can, find clients. We can help you find clients. And then that's where they get the drive, oh, he's right.
They see a bigger perspective.
Yeah, because a lot of them are pretty much close. They just, especially VAs, they work in the room. They're not meeting a lot of people. They're not going out. We do that. And then, so for us, if it's not us, then who's gonna teach them? Yeah.
We also help them a lot too, as in we don't just talk about business. We talk about, so a lot of our, VAs in the Philippines, right? So the other day, one of our VAs got robbed, their house, right? So we gave them,
we bought everything.
We bought everything they lost. We had a meeting, talked with them, what are you struggling with, stuff like that. So we help them emotionally, not just monetary, we're just across the country, just, learning how to do business.
I agree, because there's this idea that money's the only motivator, and it isn't. Yeah. There's something that we do inside Capital Club. I'm big about water, right? And there's fluoride in tap water and things like that. Don't drink the tap water. So every single one of our employees, they get a reverse osmosis water machine. So as soon as you get onboarded, clean water instantly, right? And we've had employees that, in the Philippines, they have all the, what is it, what's the big, is it hurricanes? Or
they have
what is it that they get? Crazy stuff. So sometimes typhoons, right? So sometimes we're in situations where we have employees where their roofs literally blow off. So there we are making sure that they get new roofs and things of this nature. So there's a factor of gratitude that transcends the paycheck. And I think that, like you guys said, in order to keep somebody hungry, you also need to be able to give them a vision.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people, they don't have a vision because nobody's ever given them an opportunity outside of, oh, here's your paycheck. This is all you can do. So they live in the confines of their room.
Exactly.
Not only of their room, but in the mental room that they've created for themselves. I think what you guys are doing is super cool. I've appreciated seeing you guys scale. I look forward to seeing you guys build out your exit strategy. And the next Money Talks will be how to exit an e-commerce business and go from hero to zero, from zero to hero, and now from hero to a complete exit. Boys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate the data sets, and thank you so much for the pioneering that you guys are doing in the space. Ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Money Talks. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did, that you guys were able to take some data sets away, and I will see you guys on the next one.